Okay, hello, this is Tom from PowerSide again. Short video on the industrial PSL industrial power corruptor. We have a previous video that talks about the do's and don'ts on the connection side, the precautions you should take, and appropriate safety measures. Now we're doing a video on the front to show the process of connecting load. In terms of the IPC, I draw a couple of things to your attention. We have here on the meter side the readings for the source, or the source side, line to neutral voltage for the source. You can see it's identified here and properly selected with the knob. And then we also have pulled up line to neutral on the load side. Finally, down here, as a proper validation on safety, we have a neutral to ground reading. And you can see here that we have not connected the load yet. The IPC is powered up, but we do not have load to the source side as yet. We've verified the connections with the multimeter. The next step we'll take is to connect the source and verify that it is properly reflected on the front of the IPC. So with that, let's connect the source. Now, first thing, circuit breaker should still be open, so we should not expect to see any reading on the load side. Circuit breaker still open, but on the load side, is this what we expect? Do we expect 240 volts? Do we have this identified? Do we have zero on the load, so to ensure that we haven't switched load and source somehow, and that we have our cables reversed? And clearly down here we have low values for neutral to ground, which verifies that our connections are what we expect and confirm with the multimeter reading. So with that said, we are closer to being able to energize the load. But first, let's before also we look at any of the disturbance settings, let's also look at the other side of the IPC and see if we have, first of all, our trip setting set appropriately. Clearly, here we can go up to 200 amps on the IPC, but you may want to have a trip setting that's lower than that, that's more secure than that, based on the unit under test. The other thing that we note here on the status is that the breaker is indeed open. So with that being validated, with us being comfortable, nobody behind the IPC, we want to do all the operation now from the side or the front of the IPC. It would be time to close the breaker and see if we have an appropriate voltage on the load side. So with that, let's close the main circuit breaker. And for some of you, the circuit breaker is a manual control at the center and the back of the IPC, but this has now closed the circuit breaker. So the IPC, that is the series piece of equipment between power supply from your source and the equipment under test, is now passing through the IPC, and you see here that now on the load side we have 240 volts. We still have a sensible neutral to ground. Even if your equipment under test is not started or you haven't energized it, we can see now that there's an appropriate voltage on both sides, both the source side and on the load side. And so we're ready to start the process. We're ready to start looking at how we can engage in a test. Okay, so with that, I'll pause. I'll come back with another video which also gives some recommendations on how to start your process. Rather than go heavily into a deep sag for a long duration, I'll tackle in the next video how we should set things up to build up and have a successful test. So I'll come back on the next video. Thank you.